What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, two-time Canadian Ethnic Media Association award winner, 2020 for the best podcast news category, and 2018 in the innovation category. Also, once a month, I host the only online monthly conversation for fathers and dads that is sponsored by Dove Men Care, and also it's sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Remember, this is the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. And for anyone who knows even a little bit about Dr. Vibe, we like to have new friends on all the time. And just chopped it up with a brand new friend that I know you are gonna like because he's got the right vibe. Yeah, he's got some of that vibe going on. So let me give a little background. Gentleman's name is Ramon Ray. He's an in-demand global keynote speaker, entrepreneur, best-selling author, and event producer and host. He's the founder of Smart Hustle Media. I love that, Smart Hustle Media, which inspires and educates small business owners. He started 4 small companies and sold 2 of them. Celebrity CEO, Ramon's 4th book is about building a community and a personal brand. He's been invited to testify at the United States Congress. I hope it's because of a good thing, and invited to speak at the White House. Again, I hope it was a good thing. And he has shared the stage with Seth Godin, Daymond John, Kawasaki, Simon Sinek, Gary Vaynerchuk, and others. That's some serious heavy hitters category. He's interviewed President Barack Obama and joined Ivanka Trump at the Global Entrepreneur Summit in India. Over his extensive career, he has written thousands of articles, spoken to thousands of business owners, and impacted hundreds of small business owners and entrepreneurs to help their business thrive. So we are here to welcome, for the first time, but not the last time, Ramon! What is up?
What's up, Dr. Vibe? Listen, man, that intro, your energy, your passion, your excitement, it's amazing. And I feel so warmly to be here with your community and your audience. Thank you for all you've done to help us fathers and beyond. I'm honored to be here. Thank you, sir.
Well, it is an honor right back at you. And I am jacked about this. Like I was saying, is he going to come on with a bow tie and all and going, oh, I don't want to be underdressed. Like if you see the post promoting this conversation, the man is on point. He's on fly going, am I going to have to put on a tux or something to be in this conversation? But it's all good.
Oh man, maybe next time, maybe for the next time I'll do that. Next time.
I received that. No problem. Well, look, thank you for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule to share with myself and the worldwide audience. Great bio, but especially when we have friends come on for the first time, let's take it back. What were the early days of Ramon? Where was he born, growing up, etc.?
Sure. Yeah. I'm a Midwestern boy. So born in the Midwest of Ohio. So it wasn't quite country, but definitely growing up, being the only brown skin family in my neighborhood. So that's a data point right there. Yeah. And moved to the New York area some years ago. So I kind of grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And another fun fact, as you mentioned, I think you mentioned that I used to work at the United Nations.
I didn't. Nothing in there.
Okay. Yeah. Worked at the United Nations for a number of years until I got fired for my entrepreneurial ventures. They have different rules and regulations, and I didn't follow them. The bigger story than that, but to make it simple, which I can go into. And that kind of, while I was there, though, Dr. Vibe, I was there for many years. While I was there, that was around the time of the Mosaic web browser, Microsoft front page, leaving AOL and Prodigy. So whatever time period that would be. And then lo and behold, that was kind of where I discovered the internet. And fast forward, being online for over 20 years, over 25 years, today, like you, we serve a lot of our communities online. So that's the short story of who Ramon is today.
Okay, so I'm going to be like a gold mine. I'm going to do some digging here. All right. Only brown skin family in the Midwest. Any memories of that?
Yes, and to be clear, of course, in my neighborhood, meaning, my immediate, my best friend was white. So I think the memory I was telling somebody today was I didn't realize in a good way that I was Black until I moved, meaning my best friend was white. It was just, we were just friends. We rode our big wheels. Anybody know? Shout out for big wheels, riding those along. And we were just 2 friends. So I think only as I got older, realizing, there's Black and there's white. So I guess thank God for good parents and others. Not that they hid anything. It's just our community was so we were such close friends. We just saw it as two boys. If we fought, it was only because we didn't want to share.
You mentioned your parents. Share about your parents, and I'm sure they've meant a lot to you during your journey.
Absolutely. And again, hello and shout out to all those joining us and listening to Dr. Vibe Show. Thanks for being here. Pardon me, two good parents, mother and father. And my parents have had a long time in full-time ministry, as in faith ministry. My father died many, many years ago. But that was kind of my upbringing. He was a Navy man, very strict. People used to call him Correcto Clabe. And I had such an embarrassment, because I don't know about your upbringing, Dr. Vibe, but kind of imagine a gruff man loving person. But I guess back in that era, it was kind of, that kind of thing. But I think that's where I learned some discipline, mental discipline. My mother was a loving mom, maternal, keeping the family together. He did too, but different roles. So that's a little bit about my parents. And she's alive today in Brooklyn and doing well, serving in full-time ministry today.
Wonderful. I can relate in regards to the discipline and father. My father's still alive, but he was a public school teacher in the same public school for 38 years.
Nice.
And there was a good and not good about that. The discipline was good, but the other part, sometimes I told him I feel more like a student than his son. So,
and that sometimes can happen for sure, Dr. But I do understand that experience. I remember talking to my father about some issues, birds and bees, and he was like, well, nothing much to talk about. Now, today, with my own kids, we talk about everything. There's nothing that is not for discussion in our household. But I think, 30 years ago, whatever the time frame, 40 years ago, a little different, just like it would have been 100 years ago. So you evolved, but the love was there. And I just want to shout out, I see Natalia said, big wheel ding.
Absolutely. The transformation from Midwest to Brooklyn, was that a difficult thing? Because obviously you're coming from smallish town to big city. Was it a difficult adjustment for you?
It was, man. I can remember, now I had a few short stops before Brooklyn, but I can remember when we were getting ready to move and leave there. I was about 9 years old or so, about 10 years old. And I was crying. Again, what do you know? We just saw movies and whatever the images of New York City. And you're going to be robbed and killed and murdered, which has happened over the years. But yeah, it was different, but I think as a young person, you get acclimated quick. You have friends and family. But yes, the difference was leaving from Ohio, where there were farms within seconds away, as it were, near Youngstown, those who kind of know the Amish area, big yards and things. But when you hit that urban city, a lot of there were Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Haitians, very Caribbean environment, beef patty and cocoa bread on the street.
Cocoa bread.
You hear what I'm saying now?
Patty and cocoa bread.
Yes, man.
Yes.
So it was an adjustment, but not agreed. It was just, but there is a difference, though, for sure. That urban environment with the mixture and the music and car alarms. We didn't have car alarms going off in Brooklyn. I mean, in Ohio. So it was something to adjust.
Wow. You seemed aspiring to work in the United Nations. Were your parents very, how could I say, passionate about you being a good student?
I think the main thing, Dr. Vibe, my parents wanted was just for me to grow up. They wanted me, as they would want it, to serve God. I'll put it that way. That was their ministry. So I didn't really have, I'm careful because some things can be construed negatively. So I want to confirm I had great living parents, but they weren't just into the education, be a doctor, be a lawyer.
Okay.
I think that came somehow probably, I don't know how that came. I know maybe that's why, in a way, Dr. Vibe, I finished my bachelor's as an adult later in life. I started it when I was younger, but as I grew up, I applied for the UN job kind of, I think, right out of high school or a year, my 12th grade, as I recall, just as a part-time job to get some money on the side, as I recall. And I think I was just happy to making some good money at the UN. But then as I got further in my career, they were like, hey, we can't advance you unless you have a 4-year college degree. So I must say I'm blessed that that's kind of when I had that to do it, but it wasn't like because I was a brainiac or I wanted college education. But I'm, so everybody has their path. And as you may know, in our industry now, at least for me, I'm happy I went to college. Yeah. But it wasn't, I'm not like a programmer, a doctor, a lawyer where you have to have that paper.
So when did you start your digital journey?
Yeah. I can remember the data point for me. I bought the domain smallbiztechnology.com, a company I sold last year, by the way, 20 years to the date last year. I think, yeah, because that would have been, 2 years ago, that would have been 2019,
Yeah.
in April 1999. So I bought the domain then for my first blog. And so I'd has to be in the, 1995 or early 90s, messing around with AOL, Prodigy, if anybody, probably if you remember, Microsoft Front Page. So that was my beginning. I remember saving my web files 3 times a day. Anybody know FTP? Put it in the comments, FTPing them up 3 times a day. Dr. Vibe, that was my first blog. And so I think that gave me that taste of technology, bulletin board systems, right?
So Raymond, let me ask you, what got you into that? Did that just like how did that happen? Like, how did you get into that?
Yeah, I think hey, Beth, thanks for joining. I think a few things. I think one, and I don't know if this is it, but as I have to reconstruct, my father was an electrician before he was in ministry. So I think from then I can smell the leather on his tool belt. Anybody may know the electricians carry that belt where you can put your stuff in. I think that's where the techie side maybe me came out. Like even today, I can do the light switches and run wire and things like that. So I think that was the techie vibe, the techie flow, Dr. Vibe.
Yeah.
Then I believe for whatever reason, some people like animals, some people like chemistry. For me, going to the Jacob Javits Convention Center for whatever reason, and seeing the technology. Hey, you can email people, or here's a bulletin board system. It just clicked. And that thirst for that. And as a case in point, Dr. Vibe, at the United Nations, this is before, there was no Facebook back then, right? No live, no StreamYard. I was using Ustream. I bet you know Ustream.
Yes.
I was using Ustream. You had to get the drivers, an old video camera, connect the cables to an old Dell, one of those brick type looking computers.
Yep.
That was our live stream. So I think for whatever reason, just that techie bug, that hunger to want to be technical, it was birthed within me. And that's kind of the story of taking it from there, being a geek, learning some HTML, the power of blogging, and other things that go along with that. From a kid, Dr. Vibe, having a Casio database.
Oh my God, Casio. Oh my God.
Don't cry now.
I'm not crying. I have not heard that forget a minute, in an hour.
Yes.
Casio. Oh my gosh. So there are probably a lot of people, they have no idea of that brand name. There was a time, there was an electronics company called Casio, especially when it came to calculators. They ruled things.
That's right. And let's go back, another nostalgia. Don't forget the Sharp Wizard Boss Organizer.
Yes.
Before you flip it open, you can put your contacts in there.
Yep.
That was me.
Oh wow. So in those early days, did you have a group of people that were into the tech thing, or are you just doing this on your own?
Yeah, I think it was primarily on my own. I can remember, again, back then where you have a 286. Thank you, Beth, reminded me. I probably did buy it at Radio Shack. Definitely get it at Amazon. But probably back then, Dr. Vibe was when, 286 computers?
Yeah.
You have to chew on, do I need 2 megabytes of RAM? Or is 1 or 512 okay? So I think, to answer the question, not really a group of techies, but I think I was the resident techie. I was the one experimenting with modems. And I'll give a little taste into my entrepreneurial journey. Around that time, while at the UN, I would wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I had my first clients fixing their computers. Today, we probably proverbially throw out computers. But I remember back in the day, changing hard drives, right? Adding a CD-ROM to upgrade the computer. So that was kind of how I started with that tech journey.
Pop question.
Please.
Do you still have a floppy disk around the house somewhere?
Today, probably not. But I do have an external hard drive, but no, I don't think I have a floppy disk. But I do have a Palm Pilot.
You're reading my alleged mind. I was thinking, what was that thing? Palm.
And handspring visor, which I think was before that. Handspring visor.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I have that.
Man, you need to do a nostalgia show.
Why don't we do it? We'll do it. We'll get out one night and show it.
Bring out the Palm Pilot. Oh, and I'll bring the floppy disk. So early in your entrepreneur journey in tech, what was the first significant moment?
Yeah.
in the journey?
There was probably a few. And I think one was, and again, I don't remember the software, but again, a lot of this, and I must say, even though I left the UN and I can think of some negative things, a lot of my being able to experiment Dr. Vibe was in a small office I was at the UN that was right coming out of fax machines and, modem lines. We were right on the cusp of getting into email and websites, and I was there able to tinker and do it. So I think some moments remembering was, and again, don't laugh at me, those listening, mail merge. There was software installed on your computer, no MailChimp. Installed the software on your computer, imported your email list, hit a button, and however it connected to your ISP, pushed out the email. So that's one thing I can remember. Two, as I said before, of course, live streaming. We, Dr. Vibe, were hot stuff in the UN because people are like, y'all are live streaming? So that was two. And I think last thing, I can talk more, but last thing I'll leave you with that I can remember is I vaguely remember first seeing the World Wide Web, the Netscape browser. I think it was.
Oh, yes. Yes. Netscape. Yes. Man, that's going back.
Yeah.
Did you have any other Black people with you during the early days?
Not that I can remember at all. And of course, in the UN now, multinational, of course, in that microcosm. But no, I think, and interesting, like it is to a large degree today. I'm not sure about you, but I bet when you go to big tech shows, you're kind of a raisin, in there. So,
yeah, it's true.
No, not really. Not a lot that I can think of. I think, no, not really. But and back then it was now, ironically though, one of my first writing assignments, Dr. Vibe, was from Black Enterprise Magazine, carbon copy form. They said, Ramon, will pay you $1 per word to write a tech article. I was like, $1 per word? That's stupid. And then it's either them or Inc., because I got Inc. magazine and Black Enterprise at the same time. Could you write like 2,000 words? I told my wife at the time, and I've been married I've been married over 26 years. I told her, honey, it's not like $1 per word. They want one word. They want thousands of words. I never heard of it. So that was Black Enterprise.
Where did you get the skills in writing? Was that something that you had early in the journey and developed, or did that something land on you?
Yeah, I think it was developed, but I think I know a few things that probably helped it, as I can recall. One, I was definitely a vicarious reader. Vicarious means a lot, right? Please tell me. Okay, good. I like big words. I don't know what they mean all the time.
It's all right. It's all right.
I was a vicarious reader, and my father was too, as I recall. He read, won a contest at the library back in the day. He read 300 books in a summer. So point is, read a lot, and I think that helped. Two, yes, indeed. The small private school I went to, I can remember now the principal, Terry Harris, read lines through my reports. So I think those two things, Dr. Vibe, and let me throw another tech thing to you. Did you ever have the typewriters that could store like a few characters? You hit one button and it goes.
Yeah, funny story. I remember grade 9, I took typing, and I never thought it would come in so handy because knowing the keyboard by touch, I didn't have to go.
That's right.
The scary thing, I remember the teacher's name, Mr. Pengelly, tall, thin, white gentleman. So, like pencil thin.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But I never regretted taking that course. And today I can type so fast. Grade 9 typing, Mr. Pengelly.
That's right. I hear you. So typing for sure is an asset now. And I don't think a lot of people realize it, especially those of us with keyboards, those who can't. There's millions of peckers around, but those of us who can just fly, it helps us. But yeah, that was some of the early days for sure, Dr. Vibe. And it's amazing. Just, I think, learning that, and even today, I don't think I'm a great writer and you can help me say this better what I'm saying. I think I'm a great storyteller for sure. Like yourself, I love interviewing people. I love the story. I know headlines and blog posts if it makes sense, but I have editors or writers who are professional writers. If you get what I'm trying to say,
Yeah, no, I think it's all about the story these days. It really, and if you can have the audience engage and feel it, they don't care if it's spelt right, as long as they can engage with it and they get it and they can relate to it. They don't care.
Yeah. When I send emails, sometimes I have when my daughter was smaller, she'd be going behind my computer or something. Dad, that's not how you spell okay. Okay has 2 letters. Okay, or my sister on my email list, she'd be like, Ramon, you spelled whichever wrong. I'm like, sorry, thank you.
Hey, my dad's worse. If I send him something wrong grammatically, he'll correct me. He'll respond. And when I'm speaking with him, he'll go,
Right.
"You don't say things like that."
That's
You
funny.
see, so the teacher is always in him.
Right.
And that's one of those things I always do. Before I send an email, I read it over.
Yes. Yes. For
Because
sure.
there have been times I haven't and I've left the word out and I'm going, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm going but that's very key. You left the UN, and did that start your full-time entrepreneur career?
Yeah, and I can remember when that happened, Dr. Vibe. You know, I had started a few small companies back then. I had an event business I had back then. But the day I left, and if this is helpful for those who are thinking of starting their own business,
Yeah.
it was always, I'll wait till I get 100,000 in the bank, right? 20,000, a million, waiting. Because that fear, I had 2 children, wife at home that I had to support. So once I got fired, my contract was not renewed. I had a certain amount of money in the bank. Every month, my wife would tell me, it's going down. And we had to make it work. But I must say, Dr. Vibe, that was one of the best things probably that happened to me. Because if I wouldn't have got pushed out of the UN, I wouldn't have had that full-time kind of, when you're drowning, you have to learn to swim. And that's what happened. No more, oh, I'll speak for free. No more, oh, if you feed me, I'll get it done. No, this was, I had to make it work. So yes, that was the start of my entrepreneur journey. And again, I've had big contracts with full-time companies through then, et cetera, but leaving the UN, not having that steady check like that. Yeah, that was the start of that journey, which was beautiful.
Since we're having a conversation, I want us to land on that right now because, and you can certainly relate to this because you have been in that situation, you've overcome and you've had some success. There are a lot of people in the last year that are still in that situation that you just described. What sort of thought process, what sort of words of encouragement could you suggest for them?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. That's powerful. And I'm honored to be able to share what I can in this forum. Thank you, Dr. Vibe.
You're welcome.
I think a few things. Yes. I think me, and if I could speak for Dr. Vibe, probably know that it's scary. So I want to acknowledge that. I'm not going to front. It's scary. And if I feel myself welling up right now as I think about it. So yes, I know what it's like to have a child to feed and you don't know where you're going to get your next money from. I know that feeling where the weight is on your shoulder. So I want to acknowledge that if you're listening. I think too, you have stuff inside you. And I feel so raw even now as I speak about this, Dr. Vibe, because I can feel that moment. Two, most all of us have something inside of, we all have something inside of us, but meaning some of us have something inside of us that you can sell. Dr. Vibe needs help. I need help. I need my windows cleaned, or I need mindset help. I need coaching. I need piano lessons, whatever. So there's something you can sell to the public. That's 2. 3, somehow take the time, go to SCORE, listen to Dr. Vibe, read books, and at least have an inkling of what it means to be in business. Because it is a game, it's a mindset. So that's 3. And then 4, I say, the biggest enemy you'll have, Dr. Vibe, probably is just the fear. I heard your story about some things you've done, to get to where you're at. You were sharing with me a story. You had to get over the fear. You just had to make calls and make it happen. And that's usually the thing that I think keeps people back. They're intimidated. They're afraid. Once you're out on the lake, once you're out in the middle of the ocean, you can't just stop and think. No, all you can do is one thing, proverbially swim. Is that helpful? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And, I can relate to that because just recently I spent pitching a show idea at a financial organization. And we had a good rapport with the lady. And then she took it to the VP. And just yesterday, she came back and said, it ain't going to happen. This is our direction, this and that. And you have a choice. You say, you know what? Should I quit or do I keep on going? And and just blessed that you get wide. Within an hour, I was speaking to a lady who's a representative, a VP of sales of one of the national communications networks in Canada. And she's worked for 3 of them. And I said to her, and she said a few weeks ago, I'm available for mentorship. So she's giving me mentors. So I got back up and started on that treadmill again. But for me, I'm always trying to figure it out. I mean, it's continuous. I don't know it all. I'm trying to figure it out. So,
and Dr. Vibe, let me add to that also for those, listening to us, I think congratulations, because for me, I get excited about simple things. So I think my point I'm trying to make is to underline what you just said. You took it to the lady reviewed it. That's a plus.
That's a win.
That's a win. And then it was such a win. Let me take it to my boss. So this is just a matter of not if something's going to happen, it's when. You're already there. And we all know, any professional, if you're not getting a few no's, you're probably not trying hard enough.
Yeah. Well, it's even funny because we initially met with this lady. She didn't like the idea. She said, it doesn't fit with the bank's message. But then she said, if you position it like this, I can take it to the marketing people.
Yes.
So that was a win there, because how many times you pitch something, the person says no, and they say, and that's it.
Yes.
This lady said, this is what you need to do for me to get it to the next step, which was a huge win.
Yeah, that's really right. I like, and part of the no, I love your attitude is as a lesson learned. You know, I'm pitching something and they said, we don't like it, Ramon, because you had a blue shirt. Great. Noted. I just learned. Next time I wear my purple shirt. Great. Thanks.
And I also am pitching the idea to other organizations too, because I don't like to put all the eggs in one basket. It's whoever says yes first.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm going to then sort of to go in with you wanting to talk about one of the things you wanted to share about tonight, and it goes in nicely what we're chatting about, is getting over fear, how fear paralyzes people from success. And you're also wanting to share your experience in March 2020, how you got out of fear-wise of going out of business. That's serious, brother.
It is. It's very serious. So the summary of it is, Dr. Vibe, and thanks for giving me the space to share it, and feel free to, and I often say, feel free to help me unpack, Dr. Vibe. I don't know. Sometimes when I hear myself talking, it sounds like I'm talking confusing. So I would like to give the space to my host to help me say it better.
No problem.
But bottom line is, we all know. So the reason, oftentimes I speak about very tactical things, social media, Twitter, Facebook, that's my specialty. I'm a marketer. I talk to thousands of small businesses about that. But of late, Dr. Vibe, I've been talking about this aspect of fear, because the summary of it is what happened last March. As all of us know, around the March 13th, President Trump in the U.S., and I'm sure your president around that time frame, the world shut down. This is the bottom line. Some were earlier, some were later, but the world shut down around the March time frame. And fear gripped me. I was afraid. It felt like back at the UN, because as I am, as you know, a speaker, a global speaker, most of my income comes when I'm flying an airplane. Yeah. So I was set to go to South by Southwest, one of the biggest tech events in the world. And I'm refreshing my screen, New York Times, CNN, Fox News, refreshing. I'm like, no, South by is not going to cancel. Because I know, it's just those sissies, those babies over there who are canceling. And lo and behold, South by's canceled.
Yep.
Oh, and then contracts started canceling. Big event. Wow. And that's where fear gripped me. I'm like, what am I going to do? And now I'll do anything. I'm thinking, okay, do I go to my church and get bread and food? Do I sweep, wash cars? No problem. I'll do anything to feed my family. But that was the fear, Dr. Vibe. In the summary of the lesson learned, I went to church that day, I prayed, and point I'm getting at, when I give God credit for the idea, but I had this idea to do a big event called Survive and Thrive Conference. Thinking, fast forward to today, thousands of people signed up for it. I sold big sponsorships, so you and I can wrap on that and help each other. But the point is, I just wanted to share that. I had the fear, didn't know what to do, but I was able to move forward. I didn't let it stop me and put me into a ball, and I went forward and made stuff happen. So that's what I wanted to share, and just explain it to people to give them hope, because we're not out of this yet. Other things will happen to us. What will we do? And thank you, Bertie Lynn.
So, man, how long did it take for you emotionally, from the time you saw everything shutting down to saying, okay, I can do this. Yeah. I can win this game. Yeah.
I didn't know I can do it until I started selling sponsorships, but I have some clear dates in mind. And because, dates are nice because dates don't lie, right?
Nope.
April 20th is when I had my Survive and Thrive Summit with thousands of people. March 13th was when the world collapsed and this fear gripped me. So I had whatever March 13th to April 20th is to sell big sponsorships, put it together, and get it done. And that's what happened. So the fear stayed with me maybe for a day or two or three. And I think if it's helpful, I'm not a psychologist or mindset expert, but I think the lesson learned from that, it's okay to have fear. Mm-hmm. It's natural. But I learned from a Navy SEAL. I heard this from somebody else. I forgot the gentleman's name. I want to give the credit to him for saying it. But what the Navy SEAL said, see, fear is trying to grip us right now, Dr. Vibe. Right now, you can hear it calling. But what the Navy SEAL said was, it's not just we have fear, but it's what do you do with the fear? So I just wanted to add that as well. And so to answer your question, 2-3 days, I kind of was scared, running around the house, put my head down. What do I do? And then I had to, Ramon, let's get up with it.
How did it feel? Tell me if you can remember the start of that conference last year. What was that feeling like?
Dr. Vibe, I don't like to use the word, but I'll use it. It was magical, man. I remember it. It's just two things were helpful. And I know you know the same feeling. One, when I sold the sponsorships, I was just dialing, not cold calling. I was going to the relationships that I know already, who know, and we said this offline, who know, like, and trust me. So I went to the sponsors. Yep. And I gave them the idea. And guess the good thing? They were in panic mode too. Yeah. Nobody knew what to do. So I didn't ask them, but my intuition tells me they had an open plate. I brought them a solution that met their need right then, because they still had to make sales, right? They still had, what do we do with it? So I believe I came with them to a solution at the right time. So one, leverage my relationships. They already knew, like, and trust me. Two, I brought them a solution that they had a need. And so anyhow, to answer the question, so I felt great as I made that first sale or two. I knew things would start to be okay. And then two, man, I had like my computers around me. I do, like you, live streaming. I've done it for years. But this is the first time having a post-COVID big event.
Wow.
It was scary, but I did it.
Wow. And do you remember when it ended, that feeling?
I cried. I was just not deflated means in a negative way, but I was, whatever the word is when you go like a baby's birthed, whatever that feeling is, like when you go, oh, by the way, Dr. Vibe, I didn't say, just to thank you for allowing me to express this. It was
absolutely.
5-hour event. We went from 4, 5, 6, 7, we went from 4 to whatever 5 hours is, 4 to 9.
9, yeah.
5 hours live, no breaks, all live. I was seated right here. So afterwards, I just, and I even had wardrobe changes, 3 different wardrobes in this seat.
Was there any bow ties? Oh, then it wasn't a real event. It can't be a real event if you weren't wearing a bow tie. Get out of here. Get out of here. No bow tie. No, because to me, one of the things I've learned through this journey is life. Part of life is decisions and moments. So I'm glad you shared those moments at the beginning, like when you had to go into roll up my sleeve mode.
Yes.
In the mode where it's starting. And then at the end, I did it. Yeah. So whatever happens to you going forward, and you have that slump of a day, you can reflect on that.
Yes. That is
that
so
true. That you're a winner.
Yes. That is so true. And I think part of that you're saying, Dr. Vibe, what I'm hearing you say as well, is that the aspect of you can't let perfection stop you. Now, thankfully, I have a great team to help me. Yes,
let's talk about that.
Okay. Because I know that I'm a shoot first and then aim person, metaphorically. We all have our strengths, but I'm a visionary. I have a lot of ideas, but sometimes people, they're like, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. So they stop. But if you wait for the perfection, it's never going to happen, brother. It's never going to happen.
No, I was talking to a young man this afternoon. I said to him, sometimes you got to jump off a cliff and grow your wings on the way down.
That's right.
You just got to grow them on the way down. That is a phenomenal story. And obviously, I'm not going to make an assumption. You're doing the conference again this year?
I will be. And again, it's different scenario, right? Because the panic's over. Everybody's doing online events. Yeah. So we'll see. But I think the lesson learned is, I have people who know, like, and trust me. As you have a community, I have a community, right? So we have our peeps. And 2, you shake things up. You got to do things a little bit different, a little, change things here and there. And, but yes, I'm doing it again, 5-hour event, and we'll see what happens again, because it's going to be different. But there's so much stuff that I do, and I know you're the same. We just keep moving and providing value.
Yeah.
Maybe 1,000, 2,000 people won't show up this time. Maybe it'll be 5,000. Maybe it'll be 500. I'm still going to roll and do what I know I can do.
Okay, good stuff. So let's transition talking about this world of social media. There's some app out there called Clubhouse. Clubhouse. For those people who don't know what Clubhouse is, actually, it's been around since last March. I did a little bit of research on it. It's a social app that is audio only, and I say in the last four or 5 months, especially, it has had exponential growth. Like when I got on this app, I think back in November, I heard there was like 500, 600,000 users. It's now over 1 million.
Wow.
And it's growing like wildfire. And the thing is, they have 1 million users and it's only iOS only right now. What gonna happen when it go to Android?
Brother, I have no clue. It's gonna go insane. And the people listening, I think, here's my quick votes, but I'd love your feedback and feel free. Your pushback. Maybe I'm wrong.
No.
But okay. So I think every professional should get it and try it if you can. I think it's that big. It's worth it to try it and see if it's for you. I think two, there's two ways you can see it that I've seen and learning from others. There's rooms that have thousands and tens of thousands of people. Go there if you want. If you're a fanboy, fangirl of someone, listen a bit, sure. But I find the greater experience is the smaller rooms.
Yes.
50 people, 20 people, 30 people.
Yep.
Because, hey, if you're just going to listen like it's a podcast, pick any room you want. But if you want to be able to be on the stage a bit, you want to be able to, show yourself and add value, the smaller rooms, you'll be noticed. And it's a slow way, but yes. And as Bernie Lynn said, you got to hurry up indeed, for sure.
Yeah, it's... as I was saying to Ramon before, I've already had my Clubhouse exhaustion already, because I was in some rooms, people been on for hours. I mean, hours.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, no, I gotta eat. I gotta run my enterprise. Like, I don't got a team like a brother here, right? The team
Not
is
yet.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, I have a co-op student now, so I'm on my way. But I'm saying that it's good, but know what you're there for.
Yes.
And once you get what you want, get out of the way. And if the people are sharing knowledge, make sure they have a evaluated experience. Do a check with them on other platforms.
That's right.
There's a lot of people out there. But for a communication tool, it's fantastic. I think, well, my mentor, Mario Armstrong, has said this is it's like LinkedIn on steroids.
Yes, yes. That is true. No, Clubhouse is powerful, and I like it. And shout out to Mario Armstrong. I saw you in your bio hosting his Never Settle Club. So shout out to you too. Love his glasses and his sneakers and his energy. But but Clubhouse, listen, I think it's good. I think people should try it out. And I would say I've seen a lot of people in the small time I've been there get some clients, especially, and I think it's an 80-20 rule for everything. The best people I've seen, Dr. Vibe, they're sharing value. And the trick in a good way is, hey, listen, if you want this resource, if I can help you, DM me. And out of a room of 30 people, 50 people, a lot will start following you. So you'll build up your fan base, you'll build up community, but you may get 1 or 2 clients. Now, for me, Dr. Vibe, my model is you kind of get a sense. I don't do one-to-one client work. So I'm not looking for a client as most people are. For me, it is a fan, larger following. I have a following here and there. So that's kind of I'm looking at it. But like you, I was enthralled with it I think the word is, for a day or 2 or 3 or a week, but now I'm strategically.
Yes. Yeah. And I think for those who are going on Clubhouse too, your bio is so important.
Yes.
First 3 lines of your bio are important in Clubhouse, because when someone hits your picture for the first time, there's a preview of your bio. You got those first 3 lines to impact. And then after that, you can put as much as you want. It's not limited like Instagram or other things. You can put as much as you want. But I want to develop relationships. And I'll be honest, I'm a little tired of people telling me what they do. I don't care what you do. I want to know. I want to know why you do what you do.
Yes. You're
right. Everyone's in this pitch mode, and I'm a relationship guy. So, okay, put what you do to the side. Are you a good human?
Yeah. And the other thing I'll add to that, when you're on Clubhouse or any platform, I think, Dr. Vibe, is that I find people just, how do I say this in English? Talk too much. We're on Clubhouse or any other platform. Dr. Vibe says, hey, Ramon, so really quick, tell us who you are. Now, this format, a little different. I know what you wanted me to do. But the person, it's like 45 minutes has gone by, and they're still reading their LinkedIn bio. Nah, too much.
No, I tell 30 seconds what I do, then my question, done. Because I've been on both sides of it. So if I want to get through a lot of, and it's even funnier, especially when you have a really big room and you have that person who spends 5 minutes telling what they do. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't got time. No. Like 30 seconds. I'm sure as you appreciate someone who can describe what they do in 30 seconds. And if you want to hear more, you'll tell them.
Yes. And Dr. Vibe, I find I don't mean it to be this way, but I've found it's endearing to people brevity. And I'm not trying to be stuck up or anything. That's just my flavor when I'm really public. Ramon, what do you do? I'm a speaker, writer, author. I'm here to serve. How can I help? I'm done. When people hear that, oh, do tell us more, because everybody else has talked for 5 hours. So for me, it's like an underline when I do done.
Yeah.
People are like, what?
Yeah, but I think also too, if you're receiving that message, that person, you respect that person because they can frame what they do in a very short period of time and say, this person knows where they're coming from. They've got it down pat. They know that time is the most important thing that you have. Bang. Like I had a conversation this afternoon. I was volunteering to do something with someone, and then all of a sudden this new other thing they wanted to add. I'm going like, no. I said, no. I learned to say no. I said, we're not doing this. You don't want to end a conversation and then, we'll open up another room for people to do an after conversation. No, you don't do that because you take people away from your main thing.
That's right.
And that, like, no. But I listened and I listened to them and okay. And I said, at the end of the day, I said, look, do you want to lose audience? No, then don't do that.
That's right. That's right.
Simple as that. But Clubhouse, it's going to be interesting because I was on there today for a bit. Their server crashed again.
Good for them.
It's a good challenge to have.
That's right.
But as I said, if it's crashing in iOS, Android,
it's going to whole another ball game.
Right. So I hope they have the capacity to handle, but I think it's the right app at the right time, especially with the pandemic.
Yeah, that's true. And let me ask you, Dr. Val, I'll put you on the spot, if I may. A year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, is Ramon and Dr. Vibe going to be on Clubhouse using it, leveraging it? Or a year, 2, 3 from now, we're going to just be still on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and email newsletter? Or do you think a year, 2, 3 from now, it's going to be like, that's going to be the place? And I'm going to say, Dr. Vibe, you remember StreamYard? He's going to be like, StreamYard, what's that?
Well, interesting. StreamYard got bought.
No, I know. I mean, metaphorically,
Yeah, but no, I think it'll have a place. The real question I'm going to have is, will they get bought?
Yeah, and I think that's almost for sure. But interestingly enough, I hope it's per se not by Twitter, whatever. I hope it's like a company, Oracle maybe, or a tech company, but that's not like, that doesn't have a platform yet. That'd be kind of the ideal people to buy it, I think.
Yeah, I think how long will it be able to stay on its own? Because Twitter has their they have their software they're going to be bringing out. I think we'll see. I think it will still exist. Whether it's independently, that's a whole other question. But I think for me and probably yourself, this is part of the golf clubs we have in our bag. It's not all everything.
That's exactly right. And I think that, and I think, let me extend that further to those listening and want to get advice and are interested in Clubhouse. I don't even know how to say this well. If you're running and hanging your whole business that is going to live or die in Clubhouse, that's a problem.
That's a huge issue.
You're still networking, building your community, leveraging LinkedIn and other things existing where everybody's at already. Clubhouse is still for fanboys and fangirls. That's how I'm seeing it. It's still a game.
Yeah, like there are some people going, wow, they're like, I'm glad to listen to Les Brown on Clubhouse. Would have never heard Daymond John, would have never heard him on Clubhouse. There's some other people, but how can I say, like your social media, love your family.
Yes. Like a t-shirt to me.
That's the way I put it. And and I'm not saying anything wrong with Clubhouse. I think it's good, but you got to balance it, folks. You really got to balance it. So, and there's nothing wrong with calling people.
Right.
One of my mentors told me a long time ago, give good phone.
I love it. What good advice. And I must say, what's not as good as that, but one step below it, what I do quite a bit. One, I have a small group, and this is a little different. This is the mentorship I do. So I don't do it with like professionals. I wouldn't probably do this to you per se, because email is a little different. But the point I'm making is that WhatsApp, I pick up the phone about once a week. I'll do 20 to 30 short WhatsApp messages, including to my son.
I do that.
Yes.
I make it so short. I just 2 words. You good?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. And
That's
mine is, I'm thinking about you. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Simple
And
as that.
or-
Like, because we are in a relationship world, not just business, a relationship world. And especially now, people want people to care about them even more so now.
Yeah. And the other hack, the other tip similar to that is Facebook birthday message. I don't have time to do it for all. Facebook tells what our birthdays are.
Yes.
And I will use Facebook to say happy birthday without saying or something like that as well.
Excellent. No, I agree with that. Like, it's the personal side. Like all the emails I've sent to you, I start with, how are you? How's your family? Is everyone safe?
Yes.
Forget the business stuff, because if you're not good, the business part ain't gonna be good.
That's right.
That's just me. Like, if people can do other way, but and also how can I put, follow up and follow through.
It's important. Yeah.
And if people don't get it, if people don't follow up with you, how do you feel?
Yeah, no, it's good. Hey, you know what? I use the Gmail email app. I think one of the best things they have is, I don't know if it's on all platforms, but when you send an email, if I send an email to Dr. Vibe, I think it's 5 days later, 2 days.
Yes, it reminds you.
Oh, that has saved my butt so much.
Boomerang. That's the app. Boomerang.
But Boomerang. But I think, I don't know if Google
does it automatically too. If it isn't, it comes back in 5 days.
Yes.
If they know it, so that's a great app in Gmail. That is like wonderful. Well, we're running out of time quickly here, so we're going to spend the last bit about community. Yes. Why is community important in business?
Yeah, man. We touched on a lot of it today, Dr. Vibe, and you show that so well. But here's the succinct reason why community is important. One, I'm a firm believer in asking for a smile before you ask for a sale. Two,
I love that.
Thank you. Two, I'd rather, instead of having 5 sales, which are here and there, I'd rather have 50 people following me that I can convert over time to a sale. So the community is the long game. The direct sale is the short game. But that's why community, I'd rather have fans and followers than to have direct sales.
That's nice. That is nice. Is it tougher, you think, today, or easier to build a community?
There's a lot of noise, Dr. Vibe. Everybody's on a platform, right? We all, you, me, and 10 of our closest friends, all doing podcasts and shows. So I think in a way it is tougher, but that means we just have to be better at providing more value and showing our unique difference. I think, so it's tougher, but I think it's not the only way to go. You can buy ads, rely on word of mouth, do direct sales. All those could work depending on your business. But for me, I'll say it again. I'd rather just smile, show my value, get other people to like me, and I'll sell later on.
Wow. I'm going to slip this one in before we get fatherhood. How important is it to you in your journey?
Yeah, this is, man, I hope you have another hour for this, but here's the deal.
Part 2. We'll do a part 2. Don't worry. We'll do it. I do things. I have things I have an alleged mind.
I like that.
So that's another part, but fatherhood. Okay. Let me phrase it this way. What would your message be to fathers at this time in history?
I got you for sure. And I still will touch on what initially was going to come out of my mouth. What I was going to say is just that growing up as a father, meaning fathering my children, I was a good father, great father. My wife tells I'm blessed that I was, but I didn't see how important it was. Only now, almost 50, I have 2 adult kids. Am I looking back? And I'm so grateful because my son, who's in another country right now, I haven't seen him for almost a year.
Wow.
I have an adult daughter who lives in my house. I have a book right here. Prayers for Daughters. My point is that only now am I seeing how important it was planting those seeds. So the brief point of it is it's important. Those listening, if you have small kids, keep doing what you're doing through the tears and the crying because your kids need that, fathers. They need you.
Wow. How challenging is it not seeing your son for a year?
It's tough, that, Dr. Vibe, and I think it's harder for my wife. Maybe it's the maternal instinct, being a lady, but it's tough. But we talk a lot. We do video, and I think in a way we may be drawing closer together because he's one of us. He's a digital marketer. He's our peeps. Yeah. So We rap, we do stuff. He's a mindset coach. His business is growing. It's tough. But I think in a way, Dr. Vibe, it's a weird way, but I like tough situations for some reason. Like my daughter will tease me, yeah, Dad, we know you walk 2 miles in a hurricane, which I've done. I just did it because I know people that have had to do it, brother.
Yeah.
Growing up in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
I know single moms, single fathers. You don't have bus money. You still have to get to work or you'll be fired that day.
Yep.
So to me, once in a while, I've done it over the years. I told my wife, honey, you guys drive home after church or something, I'll take the bus. She's like, Ramon, really? It's freezing. I'm like, I know, but today I just want to feel that cold because I see people in a line. So if that makes sense, kind of, that's
absolutely. Absolutely. You acknowledge and recognize the people who came before you to get you where you are.
Yes. Yes.
That's huge. What is the future looking like for you professionally and also personally?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I think professionally, it's two things. I think one, I'm always looking how to scale, how to grow the right way. So I'm Smart Hustle has had some success, but I'm always thinking what needs to be here, what needs to change. And I don't have the answer all the time. I'm just always figuring things out. So if that makes sense, I'm blessed to have some level of success, but I'm always looking how to fine tune things. For example, should I hire a salesperson or not? As an example, revenue generation. That's one. And I think personally, really, I think I don't want to end the show on a morbid note, but I'm very aware of my mortality and I'm healthy, but I know my clock is ticking.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, how can I serve people more? And this is not corny. When I wake up, I have my professional life, but I'm thinking, how can I mentor more people? How can I serve more young boys? How can me and my wife talk to more couples in their young stage of marriage? Yeah. That's what I think about.
I'll give you a story of encouragement that happened to me last year. It was one of the great stories of 2020. As I said, my father is 83 years old. Mm. And last summer, I had the opportunity to take him to his best friend's 85th birthday party. End of the night comes, and they asked if anyone wanted to make any speeches. So, of course, my dad being a Jamaican and a school teacher for 38 years, he's up first. Woo! Right? So he said two things that rocked me. He said, first of all, he said to everyone, I've known this man longer than anybody here, even his wife. Mm. And then he said, he's been my best friend for 70 years.
Powerful, man.
And that's over 3 countries.
Powerful.
So when I heard that and seen that live, and it still hits me emotionally, 70 years, I don't know if I'm going to live till 70. Right. So I give that encouragement to all of us that are watching this live on the replay, that especially during these times, hold on to the people tight. And even the people you don't know, just say hello to them.
Yes.
How you doing? You good? Because a lot of times that will just change a person's life. Even if it's for 30 seconds, if they see light, it gives them a reason to continue to look for light.
Wow.
Just a thought.
That's a powerful message, man. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Vibe.
That's just me. So I know you got things to do. I always like to say thank you for taking the time to share with us. And you have to have a part 2 coming. Unfortunately, or fortunately, yes. And I'm putting on the screen how people can get a hold of Ramon. There's his website address. That's him on Twitter.
Thank you, Dr. Vibe.
And that's him on the gram.
That's right.
So that is everything. Any other messages you'd like to share with our audience before we call it an evening?
I think just to repeat and say, don't let perfection stop you. Life is short. Make the most of it. If you haven't apologized to somebody in your life, haven't made amends, do so. It's rough, but don't hold that bitterness in. And Dr. Vibe, I honestly love your vibe, how you do things. And I think I found a new friend thanks to our mutual
I'm willing to serve you. Once we go off air, I'm going to just say to her, how can I serve you? That's what I tell people. I don't tell people anymore, how can I help you? I say, how can I serve you? And people go, wow, that's different. Yeah, I'm here to serve. So I'm looking. So get ready. You'll see these 2 characters somewhere on your screen in the near future, maybe personally, maybe professionally, but it's going to happen again. All right. So I am Dr. Vibe. I am the host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Podcast News Award winner and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I'd like to say that I host the only online show, conversation for dads and fathers in the world, that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central Canada's National Fatherhood Organization. As always, I'd like to thank everyone who watched this live or has watched this on the replay. I'd like to say shout out to Birdie Lynn. Thank you so much. And of course, a special, Natalia too, but a special thank you to Beth Silver Pilchuk, who made this conversation happen. Beth, thank you so much for reaching out and we having a great conversation and bringing Ramon into my world. I'm truly grateful for that. I always end off my conversations like this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And especially during these days, remember to give yourself grace. God bless, peace be well, and keep the faith. Goodbye, everybody.